record on this computer. All participants. Okay, now leave me alone. All right, kick us off. Our northernmost host. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I was muted because my Amazon Alexa device decided now was the time to talk. So, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast, episode 208. I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Adam Bell.
Hey, Peter. How you doing?
Great. Welcome back.
Great.
So we are
Thanks.
both broadcasting from alternative B locations today.
Mm-hmm.
This is the B-sides
And
episode.
let's see how far away we are today. We are 2,072 miles apart today.
But who's counting?
Normally it's about, well, really, I think it's either 1,400 or 1,700 normally.
Okay.
So that really doesn't seem that much further away.
It really doesn't. Now, when you think about it, I guess that longitudinal or that latitudinal difference is bigger than I usually consider it to be between here and Tennessee.
Yeah. So I
Well, I'm
guess it's
about
just a,
100 and I'm about 150 miles north of where my normal location.
you're almost in Canada.
I am just shy of Canada land. Yes.
Hey.
Hey. So what's new? Where are you?
So I'm down in Belize right now. We're on spring break. Uh, Elizabeth and I got down, so it's a lot cheaper to fly on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday rather than Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or even Monday. So we flew down on Thursday and we'll go back on Tuesday. So it's cheaper that way.
Excellent.
By half. I mean, my
Yeah.
girls' flights cost twice what ours did.
Yep. No, I believe it. Yeah, I noticed that too when I went when my girlfriend and I went to Louisiana between Christmas and New Year's.
Hmm.
Flying on the holiday was cheaper. Actually flying
Hmm.
out on Christmas Eve made a big difference in the price. So,
Oh,
yep, yep. So, yeah. Well, cool. What's new? We haven't podcasted in a little bit. There have been some developments on my end. How about you?
development. I wouldn't. I mean, there's been just regular life, but nothing worth really complaining about. Yeah,
Good. Hopefully
biz.
something worth podcasting about.
Yeah, yeah. This is the podcast about nothing, nothing interesting at all. No,
Jerry
the
Seinfeld, thank you.
no. I mean, business is plugging along. We're doing more services there, so that's good. And then there's always an ebb and flow of new clients, old clients, and those always add new adventures to the mix. So, like I
Hmm.
said, nothing
Hmm.
nothing terribly exciting on the work front. We went to Fiji, but we talked about that in our past episode. So we're
Where
like
they have
we're
lots
like
of
living the dream.
well, I'm living the Vermont dream. So if you hear noise in the background, it's because I have the master builder, carpenter, contractor here, basically gutting the place and redoing it all from scratch. So not really from scratch, but down to the studs.
Yeah,
And 7 years ago he redid the outside, and so now he's coming in and redoing the inside. So
nice.
that's yeah. And planning ahead a little bit. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to run copper wire or I want to run fiber, but I do know I want you to run conduits here, here, and
There you
here.
go.
And I'll figure out what to
That's
put in those later.
that's thinking with your head.
Yep. So trying
So
to, yeah, as
are you gonna keep the house? Or are you gonna stay there?
I'm leaning towards keeping it at this point.
Hmm.
It's starting to grow on me.
Hmm.
Looking at it, and I was like, yeah, if I made this place my own, it actually has a lot of potential. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm warming up to it a little more and more every week. And
Hmm.
I never realized with all the clutter that my parents had, I never realized just how big this place is. But it is from end to end indoors, approximately 57 feet long,
Okay.
and 3 stories at
Hmm.
the, at the peak. So it's got some space. I haven't done the square footage, but that's big.
That is pretty big because I've got a pole barn that's 30 by 50, and I can just imagine 3 stories of that.
Yep. So it's not all 3 stories. So the original
Hmm.
spot was like, I forget now, something like 18 by 24 or some such. It's, that's smaller. That's only 1 story and a basement. This one
Hmm.
is a basement and upstairs, basement, ground, and upstairs level. So it's,
Well, and
yeah,
you sent me a video, and it's very peaceful there. That's the thing that I like. I didn't hear
yes,
any
it is very
cars.
nice.
I'm sure you'll hear
Mm-mm.
planes from time to time. I mean, far away, but no
Yes.
cars. If you hear noise, it's somebody coming up your driveway.
Get the gun. So
You can get the
no,
gun.
it's, yeah, there's occasional traffic, but we're talking like, maybe like a dozen cars a day, as
Oh, yeah.
opposed to like, dozens per hour down at my other place. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's way, way different story. There's no rush hour up here.
Hmm.
So yeah, but it's quiet. Working on, plan to get a solar power and battery backup so it can essentially function off grid when
Hmm.
I, when the power goes out. Fiber optic internet has been really reliable, but if I really wanted to be, completely disconnected, I would need a satellite internet of some
Hmm.
sort. So, but
Yeah.
I'm not ready to give Elon any more money on that right now. It was bad enough that the solar installers were trying to get me to buy his Powerwall batteries.
I don't know. I would probably, if I had to have a satellite backup, I would probably do Starlink. I mean, just even though because it's so much faster. I've had HughesNet
Hmm.
and I've had Starlink. I mean, I've experienced
Yep.
Starlink, not I didn't purchase it personally, but I've experienced it. And it
Right.
was, I mean, it's like having DSL over satellite versus HughesNet, which they were completely reliable. Their service was as good as it was. you know, you
Hmm.
had decent download and horrible upload, but you could
Yep.
run the thing on a battery. I mean, you could get internet with
Yep.
a little UPS, and you could keep that satellite running. All you had to do was have enough power to power the coax, and
Yep.
it just kept working. So,
Yep. Yeah, there's something to be said for it, but yeah,
hmm.
it was generally pretty reliable. We had both. Was it? I had Hughes and I also had Starband.
Okay.
So those are the two, and I forget, one was like tied to like Dish Network, and the other was tied to DirecTV, if I recall correctly.
Hmm.
Neither of them was great. The
Hmm.
latency was terrible. Like the latency was higher than on dial-up, but of course the
Yeah.
throughput was higher on, so once that download started, it started moving, for real. But
Hmm.
if you want to do like real time, for anything, dial-up was the way to go. So it
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah.
But
Viasat is another one.
yep, never had that one. Never had those. So
They focus on
yeah,
businesses, so that'd
yeah,
be good.
exactly. But for right now, I've got EC Fiber, which is the East Central Vermont Fiber Network.
Yeah. I mean,
And
and that's
it works.
I've got that at my farm. The electric companies are now doing that. It's now
Yep.
available at my house, my regular house in
Yep.
Hendersonville. I'm considering adding it. Um, it's really it's well priced. I can
Yeah.
get 1 gig up and down for $80, and they're actually offering 3 gig up and down.
Wow. See, I have 75 megabits, as is evidenced by the fact that you and I were just getting choppy for a second there. So yeah, I
Yeah.
forget. I think it's 75, or maybe it's 100. It's $75 a month or whatever I'm paying now.
Okay.
So, and I could pay a little more if I'm likely gonna increase that soon as I'm gonna be here more often. I'll actually
Yeah.
take advantage of it. But when it was just my dad living here, only him, the only one using the computer, and all he did was check email and eBay from time to time. Didn't need anything
Hmm.
better. So,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, it works fine. I use it. I do my, phone, my cell phone over Wi-Fi works fine.
Hmm.
Generally it's been, knock on wood, it's been rock solid. So
Cool. Yeah,
yeah.
very good. Oh, I was going to say something else you asked about, and I forgot. Oh well, must have been a lie.
Must have been important.
Yeah.
What phone are you rocking these days?
I am still on. Is 15 the latest or is 14 the latest? 15's the
15.
latest, right? I'm on
Yep.
14.
Yep.
So
Same here. Pro.
I'm pro. Yeah,
Yep.
I've stopped buying anything but the pro,
Yep.
primarily for the camera, and it just seems to be a little bit faster. But
Yep.
I'm thinking about upgrading to the new one. Um, my daughter needs, well, she's like, when are you upgrading your phone? Because I'd like to have your phone. She's ready to upgrade her phone. So
Yep.
I may upgrade it, but I don't want to have more than one Apple payment at a time.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was looking at paying off my phone, and then I realized, oh, if I do that, I get this monthly discount. That's part of the fact that I'm paying for my phone, so I'd end up paying more if I paid it off. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll keep financing of the be that way. So
Yeah, it's
uh
cheaper to finance than it is to buy.
now I forget, did we talk about consolidating phone lines onto a single account yet? I don't think we
I
did.
don't I don't think we've talked about that.
So in the last few weeks, that's one thing that's changed is I used to have my phone and it was just my cell phone. And the only discounts I got was like I bundled my FiOS service at my home in Boston with my
Hmm.
Verizon wireless service. And then I asked them, okay, if I want to add a second line, what's it going to cost? And they were like, it's $80 a month to add a second line. And instead, I was paying Ting Mobile about 20 bucks a month for my father's cell phone.
Hmm.
Super low use, no bandwidth needed, just emergency, and when he's like on Wi-Fi, I can FaceTime him. That's fine.
Hmm.
So then I asked my girlfriend, like, what are you paying? Because she had two or three lines. And I was like, maybe we're at a point where we should consider consolidating them all into one. So I called up Verizon. I was like, okay, what's it going to cost if I had three lines? And at three lines and four lines, now it starts to actually make a difference.
Hmm.
So for when we added so I brought my dad's line over into my account, and then I brought my girlfriend's and her sister's line. So all four are on the same account.
Hmm.
And at that point, like we're both paying less. And of course, for me, they bundle in Disney Plus and Apple Music.
Oh yeah.
For her, they did an option for $10 a month. You can get ad supported Netflix and HBO Max.
Yeah.
And so for 10 bucks, getting those two, I was like, okay, that's pretty good. So, so we got all those now, still paying less than what we were paying before. Now, here's the funny part. When I had just three lines, hers, her sister's, and mine, I forget what the amount was. It was like 150 bucks a month or something like that.
Hmm.
To to add my dad's line, $3 a month to go to four lines. So four lines was the sweet spot. Okay, fine. What's it going to cost to add a fifth line? That's like another $18 a month. So there's some magic that happens, so it's like four lines per account is the sweet spot.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, you know what? We won't bother, because I was gonna add another. I was like, hell, if it's gonna cost like $3 or more to add another line, I'll
Hmm.
activate this old, Android phone I have and just leave it here at the house, and that'll be the
Hmm.
house line. No,
Yeah.
not gonna do that.
Nope.
So, nope. So I just thought that was funny. So it just, it's a good reminder to always periodically go back and beat up your wireless carrier and your home internet connection, and just see like, what do you got for me? Because they almost always have a better deal, faster, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Well, and I've got to look at that now because I can't do it right now because I'm in Belize right now and I don't want to fool with anything on my phones while on vacation or in another country.
Mm-hmm.
But I set up international calling on my phone so that I can call wherever I want, anywhere, practically anywhere in the world. Not everybody has agreements, but
Right.
so I'm in Belize and I don't pay anything extra for my phone line. But Elizabeth just got notification of it's like, oh, it's $1.49 a minute for each minute that you talk, and your text costs 0.5, 5 cents a piece for each text that you do. Like, oh, I guess I didn't put her account on
Oh,
unlimited national travel, but they're all under my account. So, but I'll sort that out. There's internet here, so she's on the Wi-Fi and it's fine.
yeah.
But yeah, I need
Yep.
to sort that out
Yeah.
because I've got watch just
I,
like you. I got
yep.
watch. I got an
Yep.
iPad. I got.
Yep. I don't have the iPad on it. Well, that was the other thing too. So my girlfriend came over from T-Mobile, and what, by adding her, there are two tiers in this unlimited plan that we have. So
Mhm,
for my dad and her sister, they have like the lower, you get high speed, but in times, you might get deprioritized. So we have the
mhm.
premium, priority bandwidth, and also hotspots, wireless hotspots. So I just use my
Oh yeah.
phone for my hotspot. The
Mhm.
only thing is, when I do that though, I almost always, I want to make sure that I plug in my phone, because it really drains the battery when it's
Oh
on
yeah.
hotspot.
Mhm.
So you can tell because the phone starts to get hot real fast.
Yeah.
So it's like, yep,
Don't have
all
that in
right.
your
Oh,
pocket.
yes, exactly. So but yeah, I'm, so far I gotta say, Verizon definitely has been the best, compared to AT&T and the others that I've used. So very, very, very satisfied with the choice.
Mhm.
I wasn't happy about what, a month ago I noticed though, like it was either, I think it was the FiOS service, yeah, not the cell phone service, the fiber service at home just went up $10. I
Mhm.
was like, okay, fine. There's nothing I can do about it. I was like, did I have an offer? Did something expire? Is there something I can add on to it? Nope, nope. It's just, that's the price now. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
fine. So anyway.
Well, I guess I've got a nifty that I forgot that you reminded me about, and
Hmm.
that is using my iPad with my Mac as a second screen. Because I actually
Ta-da.
knew that, but I forgot it. So so what I did is a long time ago when I mean, you and I were talking about displays, and you're like, use your iPad. I'm like, I can't use my iPad. And I'm like, oh, you can. And it does, it's got a couple modes. You can mirror to it, like as if you wanted to broadcast like
Yep.
something from your iPad. You can use it as a sales meeting. You can use it to watch TV or whatever, but you can use it that way. But you can also use it as your second monitor. Well, there's also the other thing of you can use your mouse on both devices. So on your Mac, it's still your Mac, and on your
Yep.
iPad, it's iPad, but your mouse can travel between both things.
Yep.
And then at some point there was a big lag between the time like I'm going to use my iPad as a second monitor, and I couldn't figure out how to make it work as a second monitor. All I could do is use it as a second device with the same mouse. I'm like, I guess I imagined that it worked as a second monitor. And then I ran across it again, and it really does. So I don't know. But yes, you can use your iPad as a second monitor, and it's practically lag free. I mean, it's not.
I'm pretty happy with it compared
Hmm.
to, other wireless solutions. I think it's pretty decent. So
Yeah.
I don't really have any complaints about it. It works well, and again, caveat, right? You have to do it with a Mac. Can't do that with a Windows machine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Somebody probably makes third-party software that'll let you do that though, because I know there used to be before Apple introduced the capability. There was a third-party, app that lets you basically do the same thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I use it a lot, and my iPad is what 10-inch, 11-inch, or whatever. It's not that much smaller than the MacBook,
Yeah.
so it's smaller, but it's not like when I was using the iPad Mini as the second display.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that was just for fun, and I
Yeah.
just used it to control the Mini. I didn't actually use it as a as a screen extension because that just was not
Mm-hmm.
practical.
Yeah. Well, and you had asked me because a few weeks ago you had
Have a
asked
good
me
weekend.
your
Talk to
girlfriend
you next week.
wanted an additional monitor, and you were asking me which one I use. I'm like, I'm not telling you the one I use because I'm not happy with it. I don't want you to buy that one, and I'm still not happy
Yes.
with it. It is 4K, it's HD, but it has a huge power draw, and
Yep.
so if you don't have a Pro that has big power out of the USB as well as power, then you can't use the monitor. It just sits there and flickers because it doesn't have enough power to turn it on. And
Hmm.
then the resolution is so high, it's 4K, and it's not big enough to be like it's not physically big enough to be 4K because it shrinks everything down to tiny icons
Yes.
and you can't see
Yes.
it, and you can't get the aspect exactly the way that you want it to make the font big enough, and it doesn't fit in the window, and it doesn't power properly, and now I've got a $400 monitor that I spent too much money for that I can't use, and yeah, you don't want to buy that one.
Got it. So thank you for yeah, so that's that's not a nifty. It's we got to come up with it. So there's another podcast I listen to where they have a pick of the week, but now
Uh-huh.
sometimes they have a nitpick of the week.
Nitpick of the week, there
So
you go.
yes, so we need something that's not so nifty.
I know. It's like, well, I don't like to be negative. I don't like to be a complainer, but some things it's just like it doesn't work the way that you were hoping it would work. And
Yep.
they did mislead me in their advertising. I don't think they lied, but they just misled me to what it would actually do and how convenient. Because if I really want to
Mhm.
use it, I've got power to my Mac, I've got power to the monitor, then I've got a communication in between. Now I've got monitor and cables all over the place, and it's still not the experience I want. Like, ah, I because that's what I thought. What I really need to do is just buy a 15-inch Mac or iPad, one of those the big fat iPads. Those
Mhm.
that are. I just need to
Yeah,
buy one of
pro.
those and make that, yeah, the Pro, and make it my second monitor. 15-inch
Yep.
monitor, 15-inch iPad, or actually I've got 14. This one's the 14. Scott Wilsey made me
Wait,
buy the
how big are the
14.
iPad Pros?
Actually, I think they're 13-inch.
Do they go up to 15 now? Yeah, I think the
I don't think
12,
so.
12.9 or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
but still, they're big.
yeah, no,
Did you
but I
notice
am a
this week? Sorry, go ahead.
well. I was gonna say Scott didn't make me buy the 14. I actually like it. It's the nice medium between the 13 Air and the 15, well, the
Yep.
16 Pro that I bought from
Yep.
2020.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
12.9 is the biggest iPads. But did you notice this week that Apple just kind of dropped a new MacBook Air?
really?
Yeah, there's an
No.
M3 MacBook Air out now.
Wow. I
Yes.
only buy the
So,
Pro. So
oh
they
wow.
just snuck it in?
They
Is
just
there
snuck it
any?
in, no announcement. It just showed up. Boom, all of a sudden it was there. So yep,
Huh,
M3 MacBook Air starting at 1099, and the M2 has price drop has dropped to 999 for starters. So
wow.
yeah, they look nice. I gotta say the only time I think I could use it that I would notice the difference is playing Baldur's Gate 3
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen my friend bought the MacBook Pro with the M2 Max processor, and it's a difference. There's a noticeable difference. Like he's got the detail and the visuals and the animation cranked up to tops, and I was like, wow, that's really realistic. And
Yeah.
for me, if I crank it anywhere near that, I'm like, wow, that's really choppy.
Well, I don't play games on it, but I have, like I said, the 2020 MacBook Pro, and that was the 16-inch
Yep.
with the Intel processor. And then I've got this one, which is the 2023 14-inch MacBook Pro,
Mhm.
and I never lag. I mean, I never get the rainbow spinning ball. I mean,
Yeah.
and I
Yep.
do a lot of, I keep as many tabs as I can stand open. I've got Zoom open. I've got Adobe open. I've got spreadsheets open. Yeah, nothing. I've got a VPN software right now running. I mean, we're
Yep.
we're running all that. And no lag. I mean, if I get any lag, it's
Yep.
from the bandwidth.
Yep. Yep. That's what I've found is, the M2 is fine for me. It's just the video. Yeah, if I play Baldur's Gate 3 on the built-in display, it's way better than if I put it on the big, 4K monitor that I have. Oh,
Hmm.
it's terrible. It's choppy. So, but yeah.
Well, Apple makes a screen, don't they? What do they
Oh yeah.
call that?
Oh yeah, the new what HDR is it? I forget. It's so expensive that I don't even look at it. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's stupidly priced, but I'm sure it looks fantastic. But I just don't have a need for it. I
yep.
mean, not because I do 27-inch monitors at my office, and I've got two 4K 27-inch monitors. I wouldn't want just one awesome monitor and then my iPad or my MacBook. So
Right. Yep.
I like the two.
Have you been watching the latest developments on Apple Vision?
Well, besides you getting a free one, I have not. How is your free Apple Vision coming?
I don't know. I think I missed the window. I filled out that form, but I didn't get my free oh, it's XDR, not HDR. Sorry. Real-time
Extra.
follow-up. Yes, the 6K display, 32-inch 6K. That's the
Wow.
XDR display. Yes.
I bet
Uh,
you didn't put your social security number in there correctly, which is why you didn't get the Apple Vision.
so I'll tell you something. Here's something that happened on that note. So when my father, had to move temporarily, at least into a nursing home, I had all of his mail forwarded to that address, and I had to go online
Hmm.
and do that. Turns out that's being a little more of a hassle because like I'm the one dealing with all the paperwork, everything from the government, taxes, health insurance, all the bills, etc. And when you forward your mail, newsflash, it does not show up on the same day that it's normally going to arrive at your location, at least not here in Vermont. Sometimes there's a lag of like a week or two.
Oh, wow.
So I realized, it would be better for me to just get the mail because I'm up here every week or two. It's better for me to get it and bring him the stuff that is, for him to see, and then me get the other stuff here in a more timely fashion.
Hmm.
So I went online to try to figure out how to cancel the forwarding that I have in place. And I
Hmm.
searched for Google and I forget where I ended up, but it was like upsmail.com or uspsmail.com, but it wasn't
Uh-huh.
the
It wasn't USPS.
USPS.com.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it because it's like log in. And I was like, oh, of course it's not recognizing my father's username and password because it's a different, blah, blah, blah. Copied, pasted his password in. And then I was like, wait a minute.
Dang it.
Immediately went
I'm
to
that
USPS.com, changed his password
change
real
of it.
quick.
Yeah. I'm that
But I
guy.
did give
I'm
him, I am that guy.
this
Yes.
this is what I do for a living. I'll never be tricked.
Hmm. Shame on me.
Uh,
But I did give them his email address though. That's the downside. Yeah. So he's going to be on more spam lists probably. So,
hmm.
uh, ah, ah,
Humanity.
ah, vicissitude.
Well, I
Brother.
mean, whenever I travel, I put a hold on my mail with the USPS, and it's been pretty reliable. Right up until our last trip. when we got
Mhm.
back, we had like 2 articles of mail. And I'm like, oh man, where's my mail? I have I have plenty of bulk mail coming because I have subscriptions to the Nashville Business Journal, and the electric company sends us things. And so we've got plenty of publications that we actually receive and we're supposed to get. And none of that stuff came. And I was like, okay, well, maybe they just missed the memo of the release date and our mail will be backed up here. Next day, no, nothing. Next day, nothing. 3 days went by and we got mail, but we didn't get this big pile of mail that I was expecting for 2 weeks away. And I'm like, I guess we just didn't get a lot of mail while we were gone. And then like day 4, they put all of it in there. I guess they forgot to release the hold. Like, da, da, da. Oh, you're muted. Nope, you're still muted. Nope, I can't hear a thing.
What did I do?
There you are. I hear you.
Oh, I'm back.
You're back.
So I don't know, my key must have been stuck down or something. I have this little app called Shush,
Mm-hmm.
thanks to Scott and thanks to Vic from over on the other side on the Friends with Brews podcast and friends of Friends with Brews. There's this neat little app that, by default, I have it set to the FN key, the function key on my Mac. When I press it, it just puts everything on mute. So
Mm-hmm.
that's basically makes the function key my cough button.
Ah,
But
perfect.
I'm using a new mic, and the mic has a microphone button on it as well. And so I thought that maybe I had hit that by accident, but apparently not.
Yeah.
There you go. So
All right.
cool. Well, I have been reading Audible books at your
Mm-hmm.
suggestion.
Yes.
I finished one was not really a book. It was an interview with Snoop Dogg. And it was a few years
Yeah.
ago, but it was interesting. He's an interesting character. I was going to say he's
Mm-hmm.
an interesting cat, but no, he's a dog.
You dog.
Um, and then, but before that, I finished Batman and Psychology.
Okay.
5 bat symbols, no question. That book was great. If you like Batman and you're at all interested in psychology, the book is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. It's essentially a crash course in psychology. It's like Psych 101, but using Batman and his allies and rogues gallery as profiles and case studies for all of these different, psychoses and conditions and characteristics and stuff. It's an amazing book. It's really well done, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just I enjoyed it. I want to go back and listen to it again. So it was just really good. So 2 thumbs up or two batarangs up or something.
Well, because I wasn't sure if that was a superhero that I just didn't know. Because
Oh, Batman and Psychology.
yeah, I was like, I don't know who that character is. I said, but I mean, Peters really knows these characters, so he probably knows exactly who they are. No, it was
Oh yeah,
actually psychology.
Psychology is my favorite super villain. Yeah. But so related to that, I have on my list. I haven't actually started it yet, though. Is Superman on the Couch?
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna read that one next. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's like these are really good books. So reading books on that. There was the Sherlock Holmes one. There's a few other like what I would say like fan fiction Sherlock Holmes
Mm-hmm.
books like Sherlock Holmes and Cthulhu.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking forward to going through some of those too. But I'm trying to get like it's got to be like 4.5 stars or something. If it's lower than that, then I'm not even wasting my time with them yet. I haven't gotten that low in the barrel.
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily trust the reviews. I trust myself more than I trust the mob as far as what
Yep.
I will enjoy, because I find that the things that 9 million users enjoy, I'm like, really? this is what everybody loves. I mean, this is this is girl drama. I don't want to listen to girl drama.
Yeah, I guess it depends on who's doing the reviews, right? So cool. So as I said before we started recording, I'm at the Vermont house and I'm expecting the guy to show up in a truck to pump the septic tank any minute now.
Hmm.
So we should start to head towards wrapping things up. But before we do,
Hmm.
did you hear about what happened in Belgium a couple of days ago?
I sure hope it wasn't bad beer.
It was bad for beer. The ransom group Stormus has claimed responsibility for the cyber attack on Duvel Mortgat Brewery on Wednesday, but drinkers will be relieved to learn that it has enough beer in stock to weather the storm. Yes, so
Why would you hack a brewery to prevent beer making?
I mean, some people were online were calling, oh my God, this is a national emergency. And so, Duvel's a pretty decent, Belgian brew. I've had that from time to time. I even have a Duvel glass at home too.
Hmm.
So, but they said, yeah, the ransom gang took to dark web on March 7th, the day after the attack, to list Duvel as its latest victims. As yet, there's no sign that the Belgian brewer is caving into any ransom demands, nor any indication as to what those demands might be. So raise a glass, if you can, to the fortitude of Duvel Moortgat after it told local media in Belgium alarms went off in the early hours of March 6th at its IT department, which scrambled to meet the incoming ransomware attack.
Wow. So I want to
And
put a pin. I want to tell
I,
you something about septic tanks.
you
Or you got
talk,
to,
I need to take a quick call.
okay. Resume. Resume recording. All right.
Where
So,
were we before we were so rudely interrupted?
well, I wanted to ask you, well, from, it's not important anymore. Train has left the station. So, but something that is interesting. Have you ever studied how a septic tank works?
I have not. Are we going to learn?
We're going to learn something today.
Oh boy.
So one of the things that I learned, well, I have a degree in geology and geography and geographic information systems. And one of the things that we had to learn was how septic tanks work, because some people who were in these courses would have been at, would have ended up at sewer treatment plants, because it's a, municipality. So a septic tank in and of itself is a living organism. So when our biologic matter goes into the septic tank, it goes into a black hole in the ground that's wet. So that means there's no oxygen in there. So anaerobic respiration happens, and the bacteria, eat the solid matter that we put down in there. So that's why your septic tank doesn't have to be emptied every year. Because if you think about
Mhm.
the biomass that you put down a toilet, I mean, you go to the bathroom every day of your life. I mean, you know, so you just imagine what that piled up, so it can't possibly be sitting in there just like it went in. And
Mhm.
if you've ever seen them suck it out, it doesn't look just like it did when it went in. So it comes in, the anaerobic respiration happens, the bacteria eats the our leftovers, and then what comes out is actually a black like sludge at the bottom, that is the cells that have died off and then they've fallen out. So when they come and clean that septic tank, they're actually taking the waste of the bacteria that ate our waste,
The waste.
the waste.
Yes.
So, and that's
And
why it
then
doesn't. Mhm. Go ahead.
but on top of that, there's also a leach field after. And is that where just like the liquid runs off to? Or
Exactly. So the leach field is it goes into the box, but all that water has to go somewhere. So then those field lines go out and the water
Mhm.
leaches out those lines. And if you're in a place where your soil is not real rich, you will notice that your field lines, those areas of the grass is really green because it is getting nutrient rich water out there.
Yep.
It's like a light manure being pushed out into your yard and making
Yep.
it healthier. At
There you go.
least
It's fertilizer.
it's fertilizer.
It's fertilizer. There you go.
So that's what happens at the sewer treatment plants. Yeah, that's why it
Yep.
stinks. So
Yep.
what they're doing is they're taking all that stuff and they're putting it in a huge grinder and mixing it up and allowing the bacteria to do its job. And part of its job makes it stink. It's releasing gases as it's breaking it
Yep.
down, and then
Yep.
that stuff gets, it when it's all done, that sludge gets taken out of there and thrown away. But
Yep.
then we put it out as clean water back into the rivers and things like that.
So I haven't been here for quite a long time since while this tank was pumped, but I do remember that the smell is foul.
Hmm.
So I'm planning to stay indoors while that's happening.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't smell all that great, but they also
Enclosed doors, by the way.
there are commercials out there to put like yeast packets in your toilet from time to time. I mean, they're
Hmm.
and that's
Yep,
why,
I have
because
those.
it'll,
Green gobbler.
yeah, so it'll help break down stuff in there, especially if like let's say you only show up there on the weekends every 2 weeks. You
Yep.
don't have a healthy septic tank because it's not actively working all the time. Every time you put stuff in it, something's got to grow and catch up, and then it dies off again and grow.
Oh,
So your
interesting.
sediment will actually grow faster because it's not being broken down as often.
Interesting. Okay, so that's the exact opposite of what I thought. I thought since I'm not using it as much, I wouldn't need to pump it as much, but
I
it's not.
I think that on generally speaking, you're probably still right, because I
Mhm.
don't think that you'll be putting enough volume as one person.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
if you were
couple.
a,
I
if,
mean,
if you were a
y- y-
household of eight,
yeah,
and you were you were here for 2 days and then you came back 2 weeks later, yeah. But as one
got it.
person,
Yep.
probably
Well,
not.
I,
Two
I
people is
invested
not
in,
significant.
yeah, I invested in a 6 month supply of green gobbler.
There you
And
go.
so I figured just, once it, so can you use that stuff too much? Uh,
Uh, I think that you can, um,
mhm,
or I think that it just becomes not effective.
mhm,
It's like a beer. I mean, because we use yeast when we're making beer. If you
mhm.
put too much yeast in there, it may get overactive at the beginning more than you wanted it to. Uh,
Yep.
but at the end, there'll just be more yeast than there's food, and the yeast will die
Got it.
out. Mhm.
Got it. Okay. All right. So just like once a month, like they say on the package, is probably better to stick with that.
Yeah, probably better to stick
Um,
with it than do more.
all right.
Mhm.
Well, on that note, I should go out and make sure I can find the lid for the septic tank, so the guy doesn't have to, so I don't have to incur a $50 digging charge when he shows up.
I don't even know where mine is. It's in the
I
yard
think I
somewhere.
have an idea. I think I know where it is, but I want to go and just double check just to make sure. So, so on
All
that note,
right.
if people
All
want to
right.
get a hold of us, what should they do?
Well, they should continue listening here at blurringthelinespodcast.com. But if they want to find out more about us, they can find you, Peter Nikolaidis, at yogawithpeter.com, friendswithbrews.com, and Mastodon at Nikolaidis at infosec.exchange. Or they can find me at Sublime Computer Services, sublimecomp.com, rrlavenderfarm.com, and at sublimecomp.com. Have you noticed that everybody still calls X, formerly known as Twitter? They're still doing that.
Twitter?
How long are they going to continue to do that? I mean, you keep calling it Twitter, you might as well call it Twitter.
We call it Twitter. I mean, it's not our fault that Elon is a retard.
he's an AI. He had bad programming.
I tell you, man, that guy. Uh,
All right, he's gonna run for president here soon, but
uh,
he can't win. He's not from here, so but
he can get the laws changed if he really wanted to. He would just do it anyway. He'd be like,
just
screw it. I'm just going to run. What are they going to do? They can F off.
all right. On
All
that,
right.
let's hit the big red button.